Alright, so now we're going to add the finishing touches to our lab report. And I'm going to do that by looking at the rubric. The rubric for your lab reports is on Google Classroom and on our 4th or 5th grade Fisher Science website that you can find the link for on Google Classroom. So when I'm looking at the lab report, each lab will have the number of the lab you've done and the title already for you. And you'll have your name up at the top. It'll say your name and then the lab report number. This is the general idea of what I'm looking for in a lab report like this. Sometimes there's different labs that are worksheets, but any lab with a full lab report is graded like this. So I'm going to go step by step. The question. Do I state it in a clear sentence with a question mark and I don't include I think or why? Let's go back and check. How does temperature affect the amount of water transpired in warm and cool areas? It's one sentence. There's no I think, there's no why. I think I would get a 4. Lab partner. Do I give their first and last name? Well, remember in this example, Mrs. counts as their first name, so yes, I did, and it's spelled correctly. Going back to my rubric, research. Do I give 3 facts about the question or to help answer the question? Transpiration, water cycle. Up. Well, before I submit it, I can add one more piece of research. Or if I forget, then I get a 3 instead of a 4. It's okay to not be perfect. Then the hypothesis. Does it answer it in a single sentence, and can it be tested to be true or false? Yes, it can. How can I do that? Well, we have our procedure. Summary of the experiment. Do I summarize it accurately, and do I talk about the data that's going to be collected? Well, I talk about the variables and the constants, which help me determine the data, and here I'm comparing water loss in grams. That is what I'm collecting, so it counts. My materials are in bulleted list, and so is safety. Let's see if that's going to be a 4 on my rubric. Proper units and quantities vertically in bullet points. Yes, I did. And same thing here with safety. The procedure. Do I list all of the procedures, proper units, quantities, vertical, and a numbered list? Well, I see a numbered list. I see quantities. I see units. And I see that here as well for the testing procedure. So I should be okay with my regular procedure. Scientific diagram. I either have it sketched to scale for the most part, it's about the size of my hand, or I've used the picture that I've given you for the lab. So here's the picture I would have given you for this particular lab. Here's one I created. Both are a decent size on the page, so that works. Now we come to our data. Do I have data in the correct rows? Do I have units? Do I have decimals? Do I have headings? Yes, 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 yes. Now, if I accidentally put 114.4 here and 112 here, I don't have your actual data in front of you, so I wouldn't know. But I don't want to see 114.4 over here in this heading because that doesn't make sense with, there's no heading above it, so I can't tell what that actually means. And then the data, is it accurate? If you have something that's really off, like all of a sudden 124 was 224, 100 grams had lost in the cool location, then something might have been wrong when we set up our experiment. They have to kind of match or make sense. So those two would be good. And then my conclusion. Do I make a claim? Do I use evidence to support the claim? I gave my hypothesis, I said it's true, and I told why, and I used numbers. I think I would get mostly 4s on this, maybe a few 3s. Then there's some easy things, like grammar. Do I have mostly everything spelled correctly? And if I do, I'm going to get a 4. Does it look easy to read? If so, I'm going to get a 4. My school heading. Many people will do this. Is my name here? No, it just says name. So in order for this to be a 4, I need to actually put Mrs. Fisher. And instead of just writing the word date, I would have to write the date. So today is actually the 20th of 2019 in March. And I would have to put my homeroom, and I'm 521. Now it looks a little bit better. I do have to put a title of this lab. So this is Transpiration Lab. Now that is a better 4 quality school heading. And one of the last things, timeliness. If I turned it in on time, I get 4 easy points in my rubric. The last one is titles. My titles are underlined, they're capital, there's a colon, but they're not highlighted. So I'm going to go and highlight the word question by clicking and dragging, right click and drag, or left click and drag. And I'm going to go up here to highlight color, and I'm going to choose any color I want. I'm just going to use yellow. And I'm going to do the same thing for all of my headings, or all my titles. Now that's starting to look like a 4. If I accidentally forget one, I do one page and then I submit it, that's not a 4. That's more inconsistency. And it's okay if I choose different colors. Want to do different shades of blue, that's okay. As long as each title is highlighted with those capital letters, colon, and the underline. I bold them as well just to make them stand out. But as long as they're capitalized, if they're not bolded, that's okay. Now I don't have to highlight the diagram title or the title at the very top of the page. It's just the ones that say question, hypothesis, etc. I need data and conclusion, and then I am good to go. Once I'm done, I would either turn in to Google Classroom, or I can click this share button. And if I click this share button, I can type in Mrs. Fisher's address or her email address, which is still technically under Stammer. So if I start typing in Stammer, I can find my name and click send. And now I've shared this document with Mrs. Fisher, and she can read it and grade it if it wasn't an assignment that had to be turned in. If it did, it might say turn in here. All right, have a great day.